First off, I did want to thank Alex for becoming a ground support member right before the show. So welcome, Alex, to the YouTube membership. Hopefully it is good. And we're starting just a little bit later than normal, mostly because I was playing around before the show instead of doing the work I was supposed to actually be doing.
Yes. Woefully underprepared.
Woefully underprepared.
Good job.
So now I am trying. So you can see I'm not even logged into chat. Like this is a whole mess.
Did we have updated slates? No.
You know we do. We do.
We
no,
don't.
no, we do. We do. We do.
Only because it's the same month.
No. No, I've been updating.
You better be glad December is 31 days long.
I hate you all. My name, well, as I try to get this going, I got the chat room up. I'm good. We can start now. My name is Jamie Higginbotham. I am a disorganized mess, and I am joined by Jared Head, who is also actually a disorganized mess.
Just a hot mess.
You're just... and we're also joined by Molly. So for those who don't know, Ryan will no longer be with Tomorrow and has been permanently replaced by... I'm just kidding. Actually, Ryan has a previous engagement. He's actually in the he's in the chat. Wait, he just chatted. He said, "I've been sent off to boarding school to learn the true, correct, and only measurement system, Imperial. I have so far learned that 1 mile is 5,280 foot." And 1 yard is 36 inches.
Wait till he finds out that the World Series actually doesn't include the world in it.
Ryan will be back next week, but this week we're joined by Molly. And Molly, actually, you're still in high school. You're a senior in high school, and you're a aerospace enthusiast. And I'd asked pre-show if you were going to go into aerospace when you went into college, because you were going to college next year, and you said,
Don't do it.
Concur.
Despite all the advice, my math skills are not up to par. At least that's what I thought a couple of years ago when I kind of chose my track.
Oh, she already knows that we're going to give her a hard time over that one. So,
yes.
Arguably, you don't need hardcore math skills
Nope.
to be in aerospace.
You sure don't.
It all depends on what you're going to go into. And you said you were looking at, was it philosophy or communications? Were those the two? Yeah.
Yes.
So if you wanted to go into aerospace, of those two, I think communications would give you the better option because, we need to communicate.
Yeah.
To people.
Yeah, some
and,
groups.
Yeah, and hey, it depends on the company. But legitimately, like these aerospace companies have communications crews, and so you don't need. Not everyone in aerospace is an engineer working with hardcore math all the time.
No.
And if math is not your strongest suit, but you want to work in aerospace, that's okay. If you go to the SpaceX website, the careers page right now, you go to the Blue Origin website, I assume Virgin Orbit and Galactic, I'm turning this way, I assume it's the same.
Yes, they have websites.
You know what I'm getting at, though. You're gonna find literally hundreds, if not thousands, of available positions inside of aerospace that do not require. This is gonna be an episode. I'll tell you that much right now. That do not require math. So, regardless, you're young. You can do whatever the heck you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, there's really good. I mean, Ritter just made a really good point here, which is that I'm an aerospace engineer. A calculator works great. So.
Yeah, actually,
Yes, it does. Get your TI-84Cs out, everybody.
Actually, I was talking with someone not that long ago, and we were reminiscing about technology, and they actually had, I think it was a TI-80 series. I don't remember which one it was.
Nice.
I was
old school?
Old school.
Because I got a TI-84C.
Is that the color one?
Yes.
Is that the C? Yeah, I'm too old for the color ones. Those didn't exist. I just had it was a big deal when they had, so I started with the regular display, the lines.
Yeah.
And then after that, they had one that made like a graphing display. Like this,
Yes.
It was like an LED yeah, that was like the tail end of me in school.
Nice.
Like that.
Yeah, I had a TI-82.
I'm old.
In high school, I had a TI-82 to get me through math. And that one dealt with lines. And then I had to start dealing with more than one line at a time. So I was like, I need colors. So then I just bumped it up so that I could work with that.
So I put out a call. So because Ryan couldn't make it today, I put out a call on the Tweety Birds, and I asked if anyone wanted to join. Molly was like, "Yep, I'd like to join." So here we are. The nice thing is, actually, can we go to Molly's image full screen really quick? Because you got some cool stuff in the background. So I just
We're now in Molly's room.
I was able to see, like you've got, I think it's slightly out of frame now, but you've got like a Starship over there. There's a Saturn V on the wall that I think is out of frame.
Yep.
There's Starship.
Yeah, and so,
There's a space shuttle Atlantis right over there. And then on the wall, you've got there's the only true space shuttle. It has to be Atlantis.
Sure.
That's clearly Challenger.
No, wait, why? No, it's not. It's actually not. It's not. It's neither.
Oh, I don't think Jamie understands.
I
Okay.
don't. I'm missing something. All right. Anyhow.
We'll tell you. We'll tell you.
Okay, I feel dumb now.
No, you're not dumb. Well, yeah, actually, but kind of. But no,
Whatever.
it's okay.
And then what else have you got in there? I can't quite see. There's like a Tesla thing.
yeah, a little Tesla sign, and then let's see, a Falcon 9 booster landing. It's a 3D printed model,
Nice.
and then I've got the Lego International Space Station up there.
Oh, I missed the ISS, the Lego ISS up there. That's pretty cool.
Sweet.
And then you've got your own model rocket somewhere in there. I think it's out of frame now.
Yeah, it is, but I do that kind of stuff on and off. Definitely not the highest level, but I enjoy it, and honestly, it's a great learning experience all around. Learning how to deal with lots of systems all at once, and lots of points of failure, and how do you deal with all that stuff in conditions where you've never dealt with before. So,
Speaking of points of failure, do you have to deal with approximately, I think we all know where I'm trying to go here.
oh gosh,
Do you have approximately 344 points of failure in any one of those things?
I would never go that high risk.
Yeah, I know. That'd be weird, right? You wouldn't want to go
Yeah.
that high risk on anything? That'd be weird, wouldn't it, Jared? 300 and that's just a random number I'm bringing up. 344 single points of failure seems like a really high number of single points of failure. You wouldn't want to put that on first off, any mission at all, right? Let alone a milestone mission. Right, Jared? Right, Jared?
Right.
James Webb Space Telescope. Could you remind me, once again, on James Webb Space Telescope, how many single points of failure are there in James Webb Space Telescope? I just don't remember. It's like 2 or 3, right?
It's 344.
No, it's 344.
344.
Single points of failure.
Single points of failure.
That's okay, because if there's a problem, we'll just send a servicing mission up there to fix it like we did with Hubble, right?
No.
So on that fun and awkward note, why don't we go ahead and get started? Jared, what's exciting you about space this week?
Oh,
Is it the
boy.
344 single points of failure
No,
on the
it's
James
not
Webb Space
actually,
Telescope?
because that never excites me. That frightens me.
That's
to
a
my
real
core.
number, by the way.
Yes.
I'm not making that up. I had to actually
Yes.
go back and look in my Discord room to see what the real number was. It's 344.
It is 344, and I will be crying. Actually, I think for pretty much the whole month of January, I will be holding a pillow and rocking back and forth softly, saying, "Please, please."
So, what's exciting? What's not terrifying you? What's exciting you?
So,
This is Jared. We're talking about. Everything terrifies him.
Oh, Brad, that's terrible, and I love every minute of it. Brad asks, I can't hit the button. Is it 344 single points of failure or 10 billion points of failure? $10 billion points of failure.
yeah, well, what's a tripling of the budget amongst friends, right?
Tripling?
I don't know.
I can
think
go
it
up
was
to
a
octuple. What
I
is
think it was
10?
actually dectuple.
All right, I'm sorry. Ryan said, I think 344 in Imperial is 10 plus years. Oh, this is the joke that just keeps on giving, Jared.
Oh, between this and Starlink, everything's terrible right now. Anyways.
It's too bad the people in the chat room are not snarky.
Oh man. Yeah, thanks everybody. I appreciate the faith in everything that's going on. So something that's I at least have found interesting this week is that the Federal Aviation Administration just announced today, of course, dumping the story on Friday, that they are actually going to be stopping handing out wings for commercial astronauts. They're literally going to be wrapping up the program on December 31st of this year. That's it. They're not handing out wings anymore. If you fly suborbital and you clear, whatever altitude, well, here in the United States, at least 50 miles, whatever 50 miles are, And once you hit that altitude, you get your wings as long as you've done something important, because the FAA changed all the determining factors as to how you would get your wings. So you either had to do something that was like noteworthy, like Wally Funk flying, and I imagined William Shatner as well, being even older than Wally Funk, getting his wings for that, and then, or do something of some substance. So I guess you could say the whole crew of what was it, VS-22, I believe, whatever the thing Virgin Galactic labeled.
The first one that they did with
whatever they labeled their
Astronaut
first
1
flight.
and
I guess you could hand it to all of them for being the testers of the first flight of a spaceship too. But no, the FAA at this point has basically said that regardless of what you're doing, you're not going to get astronaut wings. So we're done handing off astronaut wings to people. We're not going to pin them on your chest anymore after December 31st. If you go over 50 miles, by that point, we'll put your name on a web page. And congratulations, you're now on a list on a web page of people who've been to space.
But this is a good thing, isn't it?
I feel like it's a good thing because I feel like there is a difference between somebody who, say, is going on a flight to the International Space Station as opposed to somebody who just purchased a seat on a New Shepard. To me, there's a very big difference between the two.
Yeah, right. Like when you're flying commercial airliners, you don't get your own air pilot's wings.
Well, I always ask if they have them, because I just want to make sure if a situation ever comes.
Why can't we do the same thing on a suborbital flight too? Like if you want the wings, you got to ask and be like, hey.
I mean, Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin have their own astronaut wings, right? They have their own that when you fly on them, they do that. SpaceX has them for Crew Dragon, as well as we saw with the Inspiration 4 mission. So I don't see why the company-given astronaut wings can't just replace the FAA's commercial astronaut wings. And it's also mostly, too, I feel like, because the FAA probably just doesn't want to get into a big fight as to saying who is and isn't a commercial astronaut on suborbital hops. Because on the supposed to be the next Virgin Galactic flight, you're going to be having a team from the Italian Air Force actually working, doing experiments during the microgravity portion of it.
Sure.
So do they get astronaut wings? Because they're doing something of significance during this flight. But what if, like, Beth Moses is there again? Should she get, she's already got her wings. Does this count as a flight for her since she's just basically going to be supervising the cabin? So, what do you do at that point?
Your idea is that, it will diminish the amount of snarkiness with regards to the 50-mile versus 100-kilometer, which is a 15-kilometer difference or so, somewhere there. It's like someone can do the conversion for me, but I think 50 miles is like 84 kilometers or 82 kilometers, something like that.
Somewhere around there.
So the idea is that, no wings, we don't have to deal. The fight goes away. No problem anymore. Except that if they're putting their name on a website, same problem.
It's just basically I flew really high. I mean,
is that iflewreallyhigh.com? Is that what they're making?
Ultimately, that's what it feels like it's going to end up being. iflewreallyhigh.com. Look, my name is with all the other names of people who have flown really high, except I just happened to drop a large sum of cash to make this happen. So, I mean, to me, it's basically the FAA saying that we don't want to become arbiters of what's important and what isn't in suborbital spaceflight, because we want to make sure that this is something that actually can become an industry, because we are so far behind on this. So,
well, is it that, or is it that we're getting to a point where, or the FAA is realizing, hey, we're about to have a lot of suborbital commercial spaceflight passengers?
Yes.
Like a lot. Mm-hmm. That's coming up in the not too distant future here. We've seen successful flights from Blue Origin, and they've been able to repeat those flights, right?
Yes.
They've got a flight tomorrow. I was reading in the show notes beforehand, right?
Yep. It's going to fly 6 people.
Right.
First time they're loading up a New Shepard capsule with the maximum amount of crew that you can have on board.
So this will be the This will be the third human space flight that they've done this year alone, right?
Yes.
And it's not like they started at the beginning of the year doing this stuff. Like once they hit the ground, they kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah, so technically Blue Origin will have flown 14 people so far this year. I don't know, they might have one more flight left in them. I don't know. They'll probably announce as
After
as
they've flown.
they're going to announce that they've got their base on the dark side of the moon, and they've got
Year's
like
flight.
20 people up there. So
Actually, that'd be kind of cool. A New Year's flight.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Right,
that's
wouldn't it?
definitely
That'd
some
be fun.
fireworks. So I'd be there for that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, like good kind. Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean?
I do.
Yes.
I'm just
So-
clarifying for the people who are crazy.
How much do you think you could pay Blue Origin to get the abort motor at the top? Right?
To get the abort motor at
Yeah.
the top.
Yeah, let's once we're going up, once we reach apogee,
Oh.
fire the abort motor so we could get a little bit more.
Don't you
Right?
need that? Don't they fire the abort motor on landing? No, they don't.
No.
They fire different motors on landing.
Yeah. How much do you think more that would be? Like,
I don't know,
Well,
but if you were a representative
yeah.
from Blue, we'd like to know what the price of firing the abort motor at apogee would be.
yeah, Blue, call me up. You keep taking really famous people on your flights. I'm not really famous.
Oh no, he is.
But no, I'm not. But I would definitely go on a flight.
Jared is
One of
future famous.
There's an interesting question there too. Would it be more effective if you ignited it just after staging, or at apogee?
I think that is a good question. Is it actually? Is it even at apogee? Well, apogee would be the point where it's the top part, but your speed you're already decelerating by that point, right?
I'd imagine that it's staging.
You're
there.
constantly decelerating as soon as you stop thrusting.
Right. So maybe
apogee is your highest point.
so. You're saying it not at staging, but really it would be. Oh no, because staging there's no
When they
additional firing of the
when
engine.
they
You're
release-
totally right.
When they release the gumdrop from the top of the
The gumdrop.
phallus, do they ignite the motor then, or do they wait until it reaches zero velocity?
No, you're totally right. Because I was thinking when I think staging, I'm like
I just wanna go
second stage
higher.
of the rocket, but that's totally wrong. Yeah,
Higher.
yeah.
I want to go high and fast. Let's go. Let's do this.
And they've never had humans on board when they've fired that engine, right?
Yeah, that's why it would be really fun.
Is fun the word you're looking for there, Jared?
I don't know, but it sounds like it'd be a real fun kick in the pants.
I think you mispronounced terrifying.
Missing
Look,
a few syllables
do I
there.
go on roller coasters because I'm gonna be because I feel like I'm in control?
So,
on it?
all right, two questions because we asked this of Ryan. We haven't asked this of Molly. Molly, would you first question? Would you go to space?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Would you go to the moon? It's a 3-day journey there, 3-day journey back, and you can spend however much time you want there, as little as 1 day, as much as a week.
Are we saying on the early Artemis missions to land on the moon, or later on?
No, I think at this point we've got some.
However you want to get there.
Yeah, I think the point of this exercise is there's some habitation there already, right? So you've got
In
some
that
hab
case-
modules, you've got some available food. You won't be eating bugs the whole time.
In that case,
Hang on, that's a real thing.
Fair.
Okay, crickets and chocolate are good. Just
No.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you. Thank you.
You
I'm not
and
the only
Carrie
person.
Ann. All right. So
Thank
anyhow,
you.
so moon, yeah, moon, yes or no?
Yes, I would go to the moon.
Okay, and the last question is, how about Mars? So you've got we'll call it a 6-month journey there, a 6-month journey back, and you need to stay there for a year, minimum.
I don't think I would. Not yet.
Okay. So now the final question, which we can add to, so I believe Ryan is still the only person in the entire command. Dada, did we ask you these questions?
I think at some point, yeah.
What were your answers, really quickly? So space, yes, right?
Yeah, I think I'd go to space.
Moon?
Yeah, vacation trip.
Okay, and Mars?
Not right now.
Okay, so the only person on the Tomorrow crew. Wait, I don't remember your answers. You were no to Mars as well, right?
Yeah, no, not yet.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So the only person on the Tomorrow crew so far is Ryan, for the record. Okay, so now the new question becomes, would you take a Blue New Shepard flight and then have them fire the abort motor? Because we know Jared's answer. Jared's all like, yes, we're going to do this. This is a thing that's happening. The question is, would you, by the way, Jared, you're saying you would do that without them ever testing it beforehand above and beyond what they've already tested?
I would definitely want to see that. Well, now that I'm hurting and injured, like legit, I would definitely want to take a gander
It's a
at it
solid,
first.
Jared.
Yes,
it's going to hurt you.
Look, I understand that an abort system is not about comfort. You know, it's basically like, do you want to be comfortable or do you want to be alive? And typically it's like, I would like to be alive. So yes, I understand that abort systems will often subject you to things like 10 to 15 G's to get you out of there because that's
mild.
the point.
That's
so
mild.
yes, Duta, I'm trying to be, I'm trying to sell it here, okay? I'm not trying to actually talk about when that Soyuz aborted at like 21 G's, okay? So look, and basically compressed everybody's vertebrae. And the guys, I think they didn't fly again. Actually, no, I think one of them did fly again, but the other one was too injured with his back to do it again. But look,
you've already got a compressed disc, dude.
Two. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Maybe this kid. Maybe if I just had an idea. Let me flip over.
Zero-G boots from the ceiling.
Let me flip. Yeah, attach me to the ceiling and then fire the abort motor, and maybe I can like pop it back in.
Blue Origin Chiropractic Services.
That would be so good. I'm so for that.
No,
Like, wouldn't
you just need to ride Matterhorn once. You should be fine.
Well, I think that might have been the problem.
Disneyland jokes. I'm sorry.
They
So-
can lay you over the center table that's the abort motor and just lay back and then they fire.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Yes.
So, Jared, you're a yes apparently with the abort motor. I'm obviously no because I'm sane. And Duta, I assume you're no as well.
Good God. No.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want to
cool.
be anywhere near a solid that large.
Yeah. Okay. Next question: would you fly on blue because you're going to be near? If you the act of flying puts you next, like you look. When you're sitting there, you just reach out your hand and touch the abort motor.
It's the elephant in the middle of the
Yes.
conference room.
Yes, it is. Would you? Are you okay flying on that? Okay, and I'm going to ask these same questions of everyone in, like, leave in your comments. Same questions, right?
Yeah.
Would you go to space? Would you go to the moon? Would you go to Mars? And then would you fly with that giant abort engine sitting right next to you? And would you fly? Would you like to have that motor fired off either at apogee or at stage sep? What do you think? Leave it in the comments below. I'd love to know what you're thinking. Okay.
Do you have to ask us now, or
just put this in perspective? I don't think that Blue Origin's capsule is much larger than you and Jared are apart.
Yeah, that's about right. That seems about right.
Yeah.
Internal volume, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So in between you
Is a giant
is
engine.
a giant
Solid engine.
rocket motor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yes,
Good.
and
All right. Anyhow, yeah. So
Is the casing? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no. Ask your question.
I was going to say, is the casing strong enough to sustain the pressures if it were to malfunction? Like, would the people in the capsule be gone, or would it protect them still? I don't know what their tolerances would be for that.
Are you asking if it's made by Caesaroni or Aerotech?
I have an Aerotech, and it's good.
I was gonna say,
Hang on. Let's. But I mean, there's no.
They fired it once.
Has it really only been? Well, we don't know that.
They fired it in flight once.
I was gonna say, yeah. Well,
Twice.
we actually don't know that either.
I thought
Right? There's
they
a
did-
possibility they flew
okay.
more and we didn't know.
I thought they did a
It's
max
blue.
Q abort and then an apogee abort.
Oh, did they?
Haven't they done it twice?
Yeah, the
And
internet.
then I would imagine
Okay.
they've probably
Internet
done a
saying
pad
twice.
abort of some kind.
Internet
So,
saying twice.
All right.
if they didn't do a pad abort, then
Two isn't a pattern yet.
I mean, hey, I figure if I'm down to ride on a spaceship too, then I should
Why
be
not?
totally down to ride on a New Shepard.
That's fair.
So
I'd ride on both of them.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Although Spaceship 2 looks like
So
it would be.
hang on. I'd ride on both of them. I think where you and I differ is I don't want them to take the abort engine and fire
fair.
it outside of its nominal sequence.
That's fair. That's
yeah,
fair.
that's not okay.
Okay, that's fine. I do that, but I'm also very much looking forward to that flight tomorrow because I want to see just how cramped and uncomfortable it is with 6 people inside of that little.
I don't think it
capsule.
will be. I don't think it will be because like this is going to sound pretentious, and I don't know how to make this not sound pretentious, but I've been inside of Dragon so many times. Sorry, and the thing is, there's like 3-dimensional volume there, right?
I understand
And so it's not as cramped as I think you might think it is. Like you can get those chairs kind of rotating around the outer perimeter, and you have enough of your own room to actually be pretty comfortable without feeling like you're crammed in there like a sardine.
I just feel like
it's different than like a car.
I feel like every time I'm looking at them when they're in flight or something like that, they're having to bend parts of their bodies in order to fit in certain areas. I don't know if that's just because they're in microgravity and they're not used to being in microgravity or something like that, but like when you watch the Virgin Galactic flight, it looks almost effortless for them to move around the cabin inside of that. But but the past 2 flights I've seen with New Shepard, it looks like everybody's kind of got to cooperate in order for them to move to certain areas.
I think that's a fair evaluation. And I think, based on having not flown on either one of them, I feel like I'm obviously
what about
an expert.
Dragon? Have you flown on Dragon?
No. Thanks, Jared.
Oh, well, guess you're an authority then, huh?
Thanks, Jared.
Not so pretentious now, huh?
No, but I have cut open my head on that stupid hatch.
Ouch.
Yeah, that is exactly what I said.
That definitely sounds like a members-only story.
Those were the words I said. Yeah, ouch. No, like that's the end of the story. Is I didn't know what I was doing. I got in, grabbed on the handle wrong, and hit my head on the thing. And...
Oh, I feel so sad for you.
I know. The chat room is not giving me any sympathy whatsoever.
Oh, it's apparently a rite of passage, Michael Weaver says.
What? Oh, dragon rite of passage? Like cutting your head on the stupid hatch thing? Yeah.
Leave some blood, Remember, right?
Yeah, I got some back here.
Leave some blood. I got some over there. So, right?
All right, so we got way off topic. Sorry.
Okay.
And then you were talking about James Webb Space Telescope and 344 points of failure.
No,
the astronaut wings. That was it.
Yeah, and I also did want to include in this too that they are going to be giving commercial astronaut wings to the 2 pilots that were on board of VSS Enterprise during the accident.
Oh, that's nice of them. Yeah.
So they'll be getting them before the end of the year.
So dumb question. What did they reach for apogee on that flight?
I don't know.
Okay, they don't care. It doesn't matter. It's symbolic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I mean, that's fair. Like.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I was just curious. I was like, you said it. I was like, maybe they did make it. Like maybe they did make it.
No, I think they were maybe I want to say like 60,000 feet, something like that. So maybe no, it was not high up at all because it was very short right after the initial start of the engine when that happened. So
right. So we're all kind of in agreement that this is a good thing.
Yeah,
like
I think it is.
FAA doesn't need to do this.
I appreciate that they're at least putting out a web page where they're going to put everybody's names. So now I can be like, yes, I've paid $250,000 to get my name on a web page. So
that's not why you're doing it.
No, but some people will.
You watched us blue screen William Shatner. When he came back, you watched him on the ground.
Yes.
And he was in an infinite loop.
Yes.
Right?
He was blown away.
He was broken by the overview effect in the best possible way.
And that's
what you're spending the money for.
Yes, exactly. That's what I want. Right. I mean, I feel that way when I go in an airplane. I have no idea how I'm going to feel when I can only imagine a rocket's going to be like 100,000 times that. I will probably black out at some point during the mission simply because I'm so excited to be there. My heart will just reach a point where it's just like, nope, we've got to shut him down for a couple seconds here. So, because I mean, I just see, I can't even do it right now.
I'm thinking about it
on air because
hang on,
of how excited I am.
It'll look a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that didn't get you the same way. Okay, great. Harry had a good comment that says Shatner showed us what it's all about. I felt the same way, right? Because it felt a little bit like a gimmick before he went into space, right? I was like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Gimmicky, like whatever. And then he came back and you watched him try to mentally process what was going on. And it was like, that's it. There it is.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about. That's why we do this. This is why suborbital flight is actually important because it gives you a new perspective on humanity as a whole.
Yeah.
Right? On the planet, on humanity, like a positive, good perspective on everything.
Yep.
And so, I saw that. I was like, there we go.
People don't come back from space a-holes, I guess is how I would say it.
I don't know. What's going to happen when Duta comes back? No?
Even bigger.
All right. Let's. Anything else? Or are we moving on?
Yeah, I think we're good to
All
move
right, cool.
on at
Yeah,
this point.
let's stretch that out way longer. I've lost hundreds of viewers in that. Molly, so what are you excited about in space this week?
I wouldn't say this is exciting as much as interesting, but the I'll pull it up here. The NASA to secure additional commercial crew transportation. That's just the blog post name. But talking about how because Starliner is not able to reach its operational status in time, they're adding some more Dragon flights in between the rounds of the commercial crew contracts, just simply because there wouldn't be enough Dragons otherwise, or Dragon flights contracted in order to get to have continuous U.S. occupation of the space station. So I just think that's really now I think Boeing has a lot of issues, but I also think that we can't say, oh, Boeing is bad. That there are some people that do say that. There's so many brilliant people that work there, but it does say something to the differences between the two, and also to the intelligence of NASA going with the redundancy of contractors. Having more than one provider, always a good idea.
Definitely, yeah. And I would say that probably, to kind of piggyback on your idea that Boeing has brilliant people working there, I would say that Starliner not working is definitely it's definitely more a failure of management and program management, and how should we run this program, and basically the people who thought up how to run these programs and things like that, as opposed to like the people actually on the ground doing the work with it. The second Starliner flight is still now set for mid-year 2022, and then the crew test flight. So remember, it still has to do an uncrewed test flight, because back in December of 2019, on its first test flight over,
it's been that long already?
It has been almost 2 years, I think.
Wow.
I don't know to the day or whatever. Someone in the chat room will definitely work with that. Correct me on that, but yeah, it's been almost 2 years.
To be fair, COVID was in the middle of that.
Yes,
and I feel like you get a year gimme.
Yes,
right.
You get some gimme, but at the same time,
you get a year. COVID gives you a year gimme.
At the same time, the report that came back about the first flight test for Starliner, which basically this shouldn't have happened to begin with. What the heck are you guys doing? So,
yeah, but that's also why we test.
Yes, exactly. But also at the same time, there was a sort of a level of like, this is why we test, but holy, what are you doing? Kind of idea with it. So now their second one is going to happen sometime mid next year, and then they get to do a crewed test flight.
You assume that one will work?
Well, yes. I hope so. The additional reports that have come out of NASA basically said that Boeing has gotten it together on that front, and at least in the issues that were originally plaguing them, which was software, now they apparently need to relearn how Teflon works. With how that works now, it's established. It's been around for a while. So, and if y'all need any help, you can come to my kitchen, because I got Teflon and it works pretty well there. Yeah, it's there's definitely a cultural component to this, and I think I'm in agreement with NASA saying that they are changing those things. Of course, then, valves, but hey, nobody's perfect. And oh boy, am I hoping that they fly safely the first time, not the third or fourth time with it here. So
it's almost as if industry shouldn't regulate themselves.
Yeah, you know what? I think and I think it also wasn't Starliner that taught us that as well. I feel like there was something else involving Boeing and Boeing regulating themselves with it as well. I just can't put my finger on it, what it could have possibly been. But yeah, so yeah, just overall not a good situation with that there. But hey, 3 additional Dragon flights, that's pretty good. Yeah, actually, I was just checking here real quick the schedule on things. So the Boeing officials are saying that yes, they're looking at options to launch in the first half of 2022, and then that would push the schedule for the first post-certification mission to 2023. So we won't see Starliner flying until the year after next. So
no, I mean, you're flying with humans.
Yes, well,
2022 is right around the corner.
yes, I understand this, but 2023 is a year away, and that's when the humans will fly for the first time.
Yes, but you already said earlier in the show that terrifies you anytime there's a...
Yes. Well, anytime that we're flying meat, I get extra scared.
Sure.
So, first of all, I'm already scared of rockets because let's face it, that's a lot of energy and you're having to control that. Like, I think once you learn more about rockets, it kind of scares you even more because you're like, these things are like right at the limits of capability. Like, tolerances have to be not near perfect, but pretty much perfect. Materials have to run as they do. Like a million things have to go right, and it only takes one thing to go wrong, and that's pretty frightening.
Okay, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
But I also disagree with you in that, sure, but you're not running these, you're making it sound like you're running these all the way to the tolerances of the materials themselves, but you're not.
No.
You're in fact, you kind of are on paper with regards to making sure that you've got so much overhead in your tolerances that you can never actually approach those failure or fatigue modes in real life flight. Usually, exactly.
Yeah.
But like
once you understand what they are.
Yes, that's the thing and that's I think something that not a lot of people understand is that in order to make the vehicle safe, you have to blow it up.
Yes.
Fundamentally, you got to break it. I say blow it up, but you got to break it, right?
Yes.
You got to take all of these components to Dutta's point, and you need to turn it to 11, right? And be like, oh, did it break? No. Okay, turn it to 12. Did it break? No. Turn it to 13. Did it break? No. You got to do that, and you have to do it to Dutta's earlier point. You got to do that a few times. Like one data point, if you're like, oh, well, it broke at this number, isn't enough. Like you've got your analysis. So I think my point is like, yeah.
And you also have to break it in multiple ways.
Right. You have
That
to
too.
understand. You have to understand the tolerances of these things, which is why I'm a fan of reusable rockets because you get them back and you can look at them and you can understand this data.
What a concept! Are you kidding me?
Right?
Are you kidding me?
But the future is now, Jared. But I don't think these are things that are like we're right up against the red line and like this is as far as anything can go. And there are a lot of things that have to go right. And it is fun to say 1,000 things need to go right. No, only one thing needs to go wrong. But I'm not sure that's entirely true either. There are redundancies on a lot of these systems, on a lot of rockets.
It's not like it's James Webb.
It's
Hey,
only
Dutta. Hey, Dutta, can you cut to a close-up of Jamie real quick? Thanks. Thank you.
That was not show safe. That was not show safe. Jared was very happy. He was very, very happy with us.
Yes, I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled tonight. I'm not
my
thinking
God.
about throwing this can as hard as I can. I'll show you redundancy.
I think my point is this is I don't want to make this sound like this is the safest thing ever and like there's never going to be any problems, but I think there's also sometimes this assumption that all of these things are at the edge of these tolerances and like they're really dangerous and like all that, and I feel like the truth is somewhere in the middle. That's a very, very long way of saying that.
I'll buy that.
Yeah.
I'll buy that. It is fundamentally dangerous, but at the same time, this is also being done by very smart people who know what they're doing at the same time.
Yeah, and there's a ton of testing that goes into these things.
Yes.
From everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like from every rocket company. Like there's just a lot of testing.
And there's a lot of experience from people as well who are deep into these things. To me, it almost feels like watching a skateboarder on a really big vert ramp or vert half pipe. Like that they're going like high. You okay there, Jamie?
I don't know. No, I don't know.
They're going high up and they're doing tricks, but they've gotten the skills to be able to do this. They've practiced over years and they mostly know what they're doing. So that's kind of what it feels like to me. Anyways, all right. So that analogy, I'm going to take that analogy. We'll chuck it not out the rapid airlock. We'll just throw it out the airlock. So
I do like this comment.
no, it is not.
Go to close up at Jared so everyone can see his shirt. It's just, in fact, I think that's, oh my God, I know the first shirt that we're going to bring back in our swag store. It's just going to say 344 on it with like the James Webb, like a mission patch.
344 over a silhouette of the mirrors array.
Right? Come on, internet. You would buy that, right?
I have played myself tonight. I did not know that I was doing this at all. So, and I'm now feeling like this doesn't bode well for the weekend either. So,
internet, you would buy that, right? You would buy a shirt that said 344 with like a James Webb patch on it, right?
The chat room has knocked me down.
Oh yeah, 344 winter jet. Oh my god, I love this idea. I may actually make this happen. I think this would be great.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh please. Now the chat room is coming after. Oh jeez, I can't do this anymore. I'm getting stressed. I'm getting really stressed about.
So first off, I'm going to give you a free 344 shirt.
I'm about to have one single point of failure here in a second. So.
and I expect you to wear the 344 shirt on launch day.
You know, if you do that, I will. Because I'll go ahead and go through my regular launch day things that I already do. Mm-hmm. So, and my routines and my
I love this so much.
Stuff with that. Yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll do it.
Yes,
Make it happen.
We need a 344 shirt.
Make it happen.
All right, if there are any graphic designers out there who are better at design than I am, shoot me a design. I will do some sort of something. We're going to make some 344 shirts.
Just understand there's going to be 344 iterations of it before you get it improved.
No. Oh, Ryan. Ryan asks if that shirt is red or green. That's actually a great question.
I hope it's green.
So that's actually a very old school comment in a way, because back in the Space Vidcast days when we did shuttle launch coverage, we had different shirts that we would put on. They had stripes that went down the side, and there were different colored stripes. There were 3 different shirts we wore. There was one with a green stripe, one with a red stripe, and one with a gray stripe. And whenever the mission was no-go for whatever reason, like weather, range, some sort of boat my Minnesotan came out.
A boat?
Boat incursion. Boat incursion.
What are you drinking?
This is a lot of caffeine. This is the Alani Nu Cosmic Stardust. Not a sponsor. I just need caffeine.
That's their slogan, incidentally.
An obscene amount of caffeine.
Yes, it's 200 milligrams of caffeine. So I would change my shirt to whatever the status was, and we wouldn't really ever point it out on air. We would just kind of I would just be sitting there, and we'd go off air for a moment. We continue talking, and I'd swap out for like a green or a red shirt, and all of a sudden, if I was wearing red, you knew we were no-go. Mm-hmm. So that tradition kind of stuck with me when I started working at Company X, and I didn't really ever want to. I wasn't going to change my shirt in the control room. That would be weird. So what I did is I forced everyone in the control room to always either wear green or never wear red. Like, those were kind of you can wear any color, but you can't wear red. And the only person I think I really ever gave an exception to was Innsbrucker. Because he wore red one day, and it was like one of his lucky shirts or something. I'm like, fine, I'll allow it, but you need to not be in my control room. So anyhow, that's where that comes from.
Should I do like daily updates for tomorrow, like Ryan did for the Inspiration 4 mission, but about James Webb? And as we're going along progressively, I can look more and more relaxed. Hopefully.
oh my God!
By launch day, you'll have your hair made.
No, and then and then hang on.
You know, there's going to be a lot of fingers flying in our members only at the end of this. There's going to be a large quantity of expletives coming out of my mouth at many people in this studio.
I have another idea. So you start off by wearing the 344 shirt, and as things start to unfurl, and as different parts of the spacecraft like now you're down to 218 points of failure, your shirt will change to 218, right? We just have the number of potential failures left.
But also, I don't know how many points of failure are going with every one of those.
What's the initial number have to be? Because I don't think 344 includes the rocket.
The launch?
The launch.
No, 340.
That's
so 345?
Instrument. Yeah. No.
Wait, are we counting the individual parts of the launch? Because you have to remember, they had to change stuff on the Orion 5 recently because they were getting concerned about things like the payload fairings.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Has the payload fairing been tested before?
Yeah, it was just tested.
It's been flown twice, and it got NASA's approval.
Does it have any single points of failure?
I believe like every payload fairing is in and of itself a single point of failure.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
When you think about it?
Yeah.
So do we group okay, we're getting too deep into this at this point. Yeah, 344 plus.
Into the weeds.
Into the weeds, exactly. We're engineers, that's what we do. We can't help ourselves.
We're going to fix this problem for them right here, right now.
This this happens in meetings too,
I
where,
mean, I just
where
wanna-
it just starts to derail and you're like, we need to be here though. We're going over here.
I just want to say that I really hope that if there actually is a problem, that they can figure out a way to fix it. So, like what they're doing with Lucy right now, where they're working with the solar array on NASA's Lucy mission that hasn't fully deployed. It's deployed enough that they could still do the mission with it as is, but they're trying to get full deployment out of it, and they have an idea. They're just getting ready to try out that idea on it.
If only we had a debate about the serviceability of James Webb Space Telescope.
Yeah, if only we had thought about like discussing the possibility of people approaching it, or maybe a robot. So
Maybe a robot.
yeah, maybe a robot, because it would just be that simple.
What else do you got for us, Jared?
Well, I did want to say that Hubble is back online finally
Ooh.
as well. So super excited that.
I don't know that I knew that it was offline.
Yes, it went down again. Its computer is just a old fritzy.
Oh, hold on.
Not
Hey,
so
before you
great.
give the computer, is it the computer's fault or is it radiation?
It's radiation's fault, but it causes the computer to be a jerk. It doesn't allow it to synchronize certain things inside of the systems,
Sure.
which then inhibits its ability to actually operate as it should.
To be fair, radiation ripping through computers is a hard problem to solve.
Yes,
and
and
it's like a legitimate issue on a lot of spacecraft.
Yes.
There's a ton of weight that has to go into effectively rad protecting the computers on all of these space things.
Turns out that's also not a single point of failure for Hubble. So it's a regular point of failure.
It's
So
a consistent.
fixable.
It's called a consistent point of failure. That's the difference. A consistent
So,
point of failure.
Yeah, so I just think it's like fantastic that it's now up and operating, and I really hope that we can keep Hubble alive so that we can do co-observations with James Webb once James Webb is up and running by summertime.
344 to go.
I know. I'm counting.
We'll get a countdown
I'm
going.
counting the points of failure, baby.
Yep.
So. And it would be really great to have them both working together, like the first and the successor making it happen. So, and being able to do that at the same time, being able to look at visible and infrared at the same time with an instruments of similar quality, that's like, I don't want to say unheard of, but at least with space telescopes, yes, it is unheard of. And to combine that data together, to crunch that data however you can in a supercomputer with the systems that are in use, it would just be fantastic in order to get that and just combine that data and really make it happen.
There's some really great comments from the chat room. The first one is from Jens, which asks how many point of failures for the TMRO show itself, which I think is pretty funny. I think it's just one, me. I like this one as well from Aravale, I believe is how you pronounce that, which is Jared needs different colored shirts for whether Hubble is up or down. That'd be kind of fun.
The problem is that when Hubble goes down, it's down for like weeks at a time.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Because you have to troubleshoot it from the ground.
Yeah.
So.
Well, at least it's not on Mars. That'd be even harder.
But if
Consider
it was,
what each command would take a minimum of 7 minutes one way.
Yeah, but the thing is, if it were on Mars, that would mean it would be in the purview of JPL.
Or is it 6 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, it'd still be difficult to troubleshoot. You just know that they would fix it.
Yes.
That's the difference. That's the difference.
Never bet against JPL.
Never bet against JPL.
Nope.
Actually, so Tickle Stuff says, what are we looking at? What is that, Dada? Did you bring that up on air already?
No.
What is it? Is that weird Disney movie, that space movie?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's Hubble on the left there. And James Webb on the right.
Oh.
You might have that reversed, Dada.
Oh, please, no.
All right, so Tickle Stuff says space is hard, radiation is hard, and that's true. And then Coppercore actually has a really good point, which is considering the actual computers on board Hubble are over like 40, 50 years old. No, kind of, and actually a lot of
that old.
Well, yeah,
They'll be
yeah,
from
they're
the
not.
80s.
Yeah, they're not 80.
So, yeah.
They're 40. That'd be 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're old, Dada. Yeah, that hurts, doesn't it? Like you start running the math and then you get sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sad now.
So yeah, that's actually kind of impressive. Also, like a lot of computers in space are fairly old because the slower like PowerPC chips just fare better with radiation.
Yep, exactly.
Than like these really high speed, which let's keep in mind, like your latest processors that you've got on the ground, it's hard to keep these things stable with like full-on fans and liquid cooling, and like you put your laptop in your lap and you burn your lap. Imagine putting that in space where you don't have air to like help cool it down.
Plus, you don't need it as well. Like we're not doing 8K video editing out in space. We're taking in. Yes, I understand. But we're just taking in data and processing that data to bring it down, and other data like for telemetry and other things like that. So
the other thing that I thought was interesting is I was making an argument for, no, we need faster processors because then you could do more, right? Like think about having an iPhone in space and like the imagery you could get back, and you could pre-compress it so you don't have to rely on the RF link as much. I think it was Vax in the chat room who was like, no, I don't need that. He was like, when I'm designing, I really don't. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I have processor power to spare on my spacecraft. I'm like, oh, I think it was him. I don't remember.
Yeah, and if anybody's going to be able to actually say I have processor power to spare on my spacecraft,
it'd be Vax.
It'd be him.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Because also Vax probably isn't going to hit his head on a spacecraft either. So
I don't know. He looks like he may have a couple times in the past. Right? He's got that crazy scientist, like that mad scientist look going.
Yeah, Dr. Oken.
He's rocking it. It looks amazing.
He's owning it. That's the best part.
Yeah, Joseph says faster rad hardened processors. Yeah, I agree. Like that would be nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, if the satellite manufacturers don't want them and don't need them, they'll go for the less expensive, more reliable parts every time.
Yeah, and that really is the key, reliability. If you're launching something in space, you want to make sure it works, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's kind of the theme for the next 2-3 months.
Molly, Jared and I have been talking this whole time, and you've been sitting there patiently and silently, and I feel a little bit bad. Did you have any other topics you wanted to talk about? The answer can be no, by the way, because I'm putting you on the spot now in the middle of a live show.
I was just thinking while you guys were talking about the radiation things, there was an episode of a podcast, Radio Lab, I'm sure people have heard of it, that talked about, I believe it was in another country, in a Northern European country, elections that were somehow affected by bit flips from cosmic radiation.
Huh.
I don't remember the specifics of it, but I just remember it was very fascinating that these things down on Earth, these very tangible things were affected by cosmic radiation.
Space weather, Dr. Scove would be very proud of you right now.
Yes.
Space weather is very important. A lot of people look at space weather, especially the space weather segments in like our space news, and they're like, I don't understand, how does this impact me? And it absolutely impacts everyone here on Earth. And especially if you're an aerospace geek, like it can create a no-go criteria for a rocket. Space weather totally can.
Yes.
It doesn't very often.
No.
But it can. It absolutely can.
Yeah.
So
and I just kind of want to throw this out there too, which is that in the I think it was in 2010, Voyager 2 went down all of a sudden. We were just getting a safe mode signal back from it, and they had to basically work with that telemetry. And I mean, remember, we're talking tens of billions of kilometers away from the Earth, so it's not exactly like we can launch a servicing mission out to Voyager 2 real quick. And they did some work on it, and they ended up finding that it had basically had a single bit in its memory flip from 0 to 1, and that's what knocked it out for such a long amount of time. And they just basically reset it, and then right back, Voyager 2 came right back on.
Well, when it came back, it was then known as Voyager.
Yeah, Voyager 2. So, and it was looking
Star
for its
Wars
creator.
reference for you all. It was
Star
looking for its
Wars.
Star
Trek.
no!
Oh, God, how dare you.
Oh God!
Ouch.
I'm sorry, Internet. I'm out. I'm sorry.
Ouch.
I'm sorry.
Ouch. It's okay.
Coppercore has a good nerd joke. It was very
you might want to put your headsets on. Dada's going to say something funny, I think.
Well, never mind.
Oh, so
What was
that?
The Veritasium video. Yeah.
There you go. It had 4096 votes.
Wow. That's a few votes.
That's a bit flip.
That's a bit of a flip there.
Yeah.
So, yowza.
Nerd joke.
Yeah.
Can't believe I said Star Wars.
Tough. That's pretty
I
tough.
will never
can't
live.
believe you either.
It's
I will
okay.
never live that. You know, the worst part is I was just watching. I almost said I should. Oh God, how can I say this so I'd really upset the most number of people?
The Wrath of Rey.
No, Star Wars 2. Star Wars 2 Into Darkness. There you go.
Oh yes, that
You're
is
welcome.
gonna. That is going to make.
I was watching Star Trek Into Darkness though, and I was like, I know, and that reminded me, that movie reminded me how good Star Wars 2: Wrath of Khan actually is. Is that terrible?
Woo! Ouch! 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 Ouch!
I still don't like earwigs.
You don't like my what?
Earwigs, the little pincher bugs. From seeing that movie as a child. Still have nightmares.
I don't know a lot of people who look at an earwig and go, "Oh, how delightful! Look at the little thing. It's got the little pictures on it. It's dead gorgeous."
I just want to stay away from my ears.
I could have said Wars Trek. Anyhow, all right. Have we run out of
hardware wars?
Hardware wars.
The real question.
Lord of the Wars.
Oh God.
I was just going to ask if anybody out of you have watched The Expanse. I'm assuming someone has, right?
So I've seen bits and pieces of it, but not. I've seen like an episode or two, but not the entire thing.
I saw all of season 1. I really like The Expanse with the bits where it was talking about like the political bits, the verge of war between Mars and Earth, and kind of like how you had the Belters and how they were kind of like completely and totally neglected. And I was really fascinated by that. And then they added the proto element, I think it was, or whatever they call it. They lost me on that. That's where they just kind of, and I went, I didn't enjoy that much.
I felt the same way initially, but it really comes back. If you watch the newer seasons, it really is very representative of a lot of political things, and it just really makes you think. There's a lot of retaliation from the Belt. I won't spoil anything, but you essentially get the Belt retaliating and potentially, depending on your view, overstepping that retaliation into just violence and revenge.
Sure. And
how do you differentiate those? And it's a very interesting look at things that exist today and things that could exist in the future. And I think it's one of the best science fiction works ever created, in my opinion. I'll get a lot of hate for that.
That's a very bold opinion.
Jen said that is a very bold opinion. Yeah. Allow me to introduce you to an author named Andy Weir. Sorry. All right. Jen said you should read The Expanse. That might be a good way to do it. Is like maybe I'm just having a hard. So Eva says I agree. Oops, I missed. Oh, apparently people are agreeing with you.
Wow.
All right. Okay. All right, and we've gone into sci-fi, so I feel like this might be starting to turn into a post-shows type conversation.
Yeah, just a little
because
bit.
we're exiting kind of actual aerospace type stuff.
I did want to say that just some props to United Launch Alliance for their flight this week on STP-3 because they set a new record with their Centaur for endurance on that, for the Centaur upper stage. So
just for like, I didn't know this, for like burn time or for what?
For total time between burn and deployment. So 7 hours, 10 minutes. Oh God. So that's a long time. That's a long time to keep liquid hydrogen liquid and liquid oxygen liquid.
And then can you imagine if you're on console for that?
Well, you have to be, right?
Yeah, that's a long day.
That is. Oh,
do you think
how bad?
Yeah.
So
do you think they shift? Yo, that's a long day.
That is a long day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But congrats to them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just thought that was a neat thing, a little neat factoid that I remembered from this week is that they set the new upper stage endurance record.
Do you have other neat factoids?
So, what's up?
Any other neat factoids?
Yeah, there's 344 single points of failure for the James Webb Space Telescope.
Is that the title for the show? 344 single points of failure in James Webb Space Telescope? Did we just...
That sounds awfully clickbaity.
Yeah, it does.
Except that I feel like
except that it's completely true.
It's completely true, and I feel like that's what we spent the most amount of time talking about on this particular episode. So,
340.
You guys need to make an album called 344. That's it.
I was gonna say 344 single points of failure is the name of my punk band. So
would all of your songs fail? Would they be like just? Oh my God! Okay, we have exited the show.
We have
this point.
We have done that.
So
they all end prematurely.
Yeah, I do want to thank everyone for joining us today. I'm sorry for the awkward. Although no, I'm not. So this show, I should have said this up front. This show is all about
jokes.
No, it's supposed to be a casual and fun conversation about space, right? So it's
Yeah.
a bunch of friends, it's a bunch of space nerds hanging out, geeking out over space. So if you're excited about space and you just want to geek out over space, that's what these live shows are about. They are not a scripted, formulated show. They're not designed to be that. We do have that show, that's Space News, and Ryan has been doing a phenomenal job making that go. It's a scripted show. You get all of the condensed information that you need. It's none of the weird shenanigans exist inside of that show. Maybe a few one-liners, which I think are fun. But that's not what this show is. This show is a live, fun, casual conversation about humans exploring the space. And we make this show with the support of you, the members of TMRO. Hey,
Well, there's
that's
one
how
point
this
of
show's
failure.
been going. Yeah. We already determined I'm the point of failure for the show.
Just embrace it.
So this is ground support. These are the people who help make the show happen. They contribute week after week, or month after month for this particular show, and that happens on the YouTube membership site at youtube.com/TMRO/join. There are other support options such as. Did we already go through all of them?
No.
Are we waiting on Duta to bring up the other slates?
The other slates are not loaded.
They are in there.
I just refreshed the library.
Okay, well, I would say we'll fix it in post, but we can't really fix it in post.
Thanks to all of our suborbital folks. You gonna read out some names?
There we go.
Oh, hey.
There's escape velocity. All we needed to do was sit in awkward silence, and then no, go back to escape. Give them a moment. You were on ground support for like 5 minutes. We can give escape velocity. We can thank Chris, John, Mac, Jim,
Z,
Neurostream, Dad Dog, who's my father. In case anyone was wondering,
that's delightful.
It's actually my mom and my dad. Rick and Terrence, thank you all so much
y'all.
for being Escape Velocity members. Also, they get access to our internal Discord channel, the Escape Velocity channel, where if you think this is fun, you should see me in the Escape Velocity Discord channel. We also have
Well, like
our
all of us.
Orbital members. Thank you to Thomas, Uncle BS, Kevin, Johnny, Fawad. Hopefully I said that correct. Kat. That's
Kitty.
That one belongs to Tim.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Kat. And Dirk, thank you very much for being orbital. And we also have our suborbital subscribers. These are people, again, every one of these are different levels that you can subscribe to on the YouTube website. They're different levels of membership that you can subscribe to. And these levels help to make the shows go. So, keeping the lights on the station, keeping the station in orbit is complicated, and it can be expensive, and it's nice when people help to offset some of those costs. So thank you so much. And then of course, because we're a YouTube channel, by the way, I realize that y'all have tuned out by now. If you're watching on demand, you gave up a while ago, and if you haven't and you're still here, thank you very much for still being here. But we do need to feed the algorithm, and I know everyone hates hearing this. I hear it on YouTube all the time and I never do it, so I don't know why I'm asking, because you're probably going to do the same thing I do. But if you wouldn't mind, please, that like button is super important. If we feed the algorithm, they'll actually give it, they'll start presenting us to other people. And that subscribe button is also super duper important. If you just hit those two, it doesn't cost you anything other than 2 clicks. And if you actually like the channel and you want to help us succeed, that's the best way you can help us succeed, more so than contributing money. Like and subscribe. That's a big, big one to make that go. Adam says you're welcome. Thank you, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. All right, that's our show for this week. We're going to keep the member room going. So if you are a member on our YouTube platform, any one of the membership levels, it starts, by the way, at $1 per month, right? So it starts at $1 per month. I have to watch him and make sure he doesn't. I don't know what's going on. It starts at $1 per month. That is less than a cup of coffee. I think Ryan determined that it was the equivalent of 0.3 cups of coffee in Europe or something like that.
Yeah,
So-
and that's European coffee too.
Which is really good. It's
Good
way better
stuff.
than American coffee. 'Cause
Apparently.
our coffee isn't really super good.
I've never been to Europe, so I don't know.
Oh, you know what? Become a member, and then maybe we can send Jared to Europe for a little bit.
Just send me there to have some coffee, and then I'll come
Come right back.
So,
This is gonna be like a 12-hour plane ride.
Yeah.
Have a cup of coffee because
Yeah.
you're gonna be tired.
I sure am.
Fly back home.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Sounds like a great use of their membership money.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you, everyone, so much. And we will see you next week. And if you remember, stay in the member room. Stuff and stuff. We're still going to be on the air with you talking about who knows what.